but plays very big and a true freshman to boot. And we'll look ahead to the battle in Columbus. We'll scout next week's test, the Ohio State Buckeyes. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by The Joy of Pepsi and by Big Boy Restaurants. Big Boy makes you say, oh boy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Michigan Replay. Well, the Wolverines get a victory over Northwestern after the bye week, a 42-20 game. And after a slow start, Coach, you finally showed up in that second half.
Well, it was a game of two halves, let's put it that way. And the
kind
defense,
of a tale of two cities.
I think yes, very, very well put.
Thank you very much, sir.
And the defense got the better end of it in the first half.
They did, but in the offense in the second half, it was wonderful. But let's go back to the first half first. We can talk about some of the problems and the fact that it was close and why it was close. The one thing that was good about it was senior day, last home game in Michigan Stadium for these great young men.
Jim, there's always a lot that goes into this week, and the parents all come back, and we get an opportunity to put them on the video screen and say thank you for sending their sons to Michigan.
And then we go to the game, and here we are with Northwestern's second possession. There's a great play by Marlin, but then they get out of this jam at 3rd and 14.
Well, right here, this is the problem with the mobile quarterback. Bazinet scrambles out, and then your coverage loses its relationship, and they pick up the first down. And then we've seen this play before, but obviously we are not where we need to be there. And they break it out. Now they're down inside the red zone.
But here's a good play by Marcus Curry to stop a touchdown.
Well, we had problems getting great pressure there, but in man-to-man coverage, Marcus made the tackle short of the first down marker, and Northwestern has to settle for a field goal.
And that's big because that keeps you within reach, and it's a 3-0 lead. Then you get the ball back and start to move the football.
Well, Jim, we were plagued throughout this first half with penalties and missed opportunities. But we did hit some good passes, the possession passes, and Tim Massaquoi here. This kid showed up, and I think he's healthy for the first time since last season.
That's
Steve Breaston.
Steve Breaston. He had an unbelievable day.
Yes, he did.
Talk about missed opportunities. Here's what you're talking about.
Yes, right here we got Braylon wide open with a good call, and Chad just overthrows him a little bit.
But your defense really stood up in the next possession. Joey Sarantos makes a big play.
Well, Joe got an opportunity to start. He's been an outstanding football player on our special teams the last 2 years, and got the chance to start when Scott McClintock came down with an illness and did not dress for the game.
And here's Breaston again. He makes a lot of guys miss.
Well, he's a slippery guy, and when you consider all the things he does in the kick return game, kickoffs and punts, he had quite a day.
We move to the second quarter, and again, the short pass underneath. Braylon does some good with it after he has it.
Well, Braylon is so big and strong, and Jim, he's got wonderful vision. There you see he's making 4, 5, 6 yards after the catch. And here, Tyler Ecker on the backside of a play that cuts back, and that's the thing Mike does so well. He sees the hole, takes it back against the grain, and gets us into the lead for the first time.
Gives you a 7-3 lead, but Northwestern comes back. This throwback counter stuff really got to you.
Well, we made a mistake here in coverage. We were in man-to-man coverage, and the number 47 there came down, got down on all fours. We thought it was a run. They made a well-executed play there. But this play, I thought Pat Massey blocked that field goal attempt. At the time, that was a big, big play. Great effort, great personal effort.
It really was, because ultimately it wound up keeping you in the lead at half. Because right before half, with about 2.5 minutes to go, they start moving the ball again.
Well, Jim, we got sacked. We had to punt the ball. We didn't give our defense very good field position. And so at the end here, and there again, you see Bazinet break contain, and they're moving the chains, get down, and kick a field goal just before the end of the half.
And at that point, it's a 7-6 game at halftime. And I got to think that as you leave the field, you're a little disappointed, particularly offensively.
Well, I'm very disappointed. And coming off a bie week, and sometimes you're not in sync. But certainly we played poorly. I think that's the only way to say it, and I think Northwestern deserves some of the credit for that, but we made too many mistakes.
Well, it sure turned around in the second half as the Wolverines opened up big time. We'll be back and take a look at the second half highlights, but first, we hear from Jason Avant, who says close games bring out Michigan's best.
We've been sticking through adversity this whole season. This is one team that's been, I think we've been in one score of ball games this whole year. It's a great team, and this week is going to put all that on the line. It's going to test all of that. How good of a team are we is based on the game next week.
They like to spread you out and get guys out of position and just run the ball at you. And, they're an excellent running team. They had a great back in Noah Herring. And, they hit some big plays on us, but, we were able to adjust late.
The Wolverines had a 7-6 lead at halftime. The second half, it was a different team. What did you say to those guys?
Well, I don't think you could reprint what I said.
You mean it wasn't pleasant?
Well, really, I think, Jim, our team, especially our offensive team, they were upset with themselves, and that's really, you can't ask any more than as a coach. Then they knew the problem.
Well, in the second half, here's your first possession. This is a drive of dominance.
Jim, this is why you want the ball to start the second half. I mean, if things aren't going well in the first half, then you have an opportunity to come out and put something together. Our offensive line did a wonderful job in the second half protecting Chad, which we had a lot of big problems in the first half.
And you mixed the pass and the run, I thought.
Well, I think we really came out with a mindset that we were going to run the football. I think we had some great calls. This is one, the reverse to Steve. Anytime you can get the football in his hands, normally something positive is going to happen.
And this is what I like on the goal line. You went right at him and pounded it home.
Well, we ran right inside the tackles there, and there was a big hole, and Mike got the ball in the end zone, one of 3 touchdowns.
That gives you a 14-6 lead. Now, this play, the next play, is not what you want to see.
No, when we watch this play, the wide receiver goes in and cracks our safety, and we get separation between our nose guard and the defensive tackle. The ball hits a crease, and it's gone. And that will be a play that will be very disappointing for us to critique, and if we don't do something about those plays, we're going to regret it.
All right, you get the ball back, and I thought, again, this was another critical drive because you answer, and Steve Breaston really starts to assert himself.
Jim, the thing he can do is accelerate. When you see him get the football, and all of a sudden you'll see a guy, it's almost like a second gear. He gets the ball up the field. There's Braylon again fighting for yards after the catch.
Here's a great throw, and Jason Avant with a great catch.
Well, Jim, we had thrown all the underneath stuff, and there a good call. Jason got behind the secondary, and we answered their long touchdown run with another excellent drive of our own.
Puts you up 21-13, and then the defense steps up. Here, Manning tips a screen pass.
Well, we knocked, I think, 3 balls down today. Woodley got one, and, of course, Roy Manning coming off the open end there. I thought we had a chance for that interception if we had seen the ball tip.
Yeah, and then you give him a screen of your own.
Well, Jason Avant does a very good job reading the blocks of his offensive linemen, getting downfield. We pick up an important first down, come right back with an end run, a sweep to our wide receiver, Steve Breaston.
And then a great run by Mike Hart. Good block here by Kevin Dudley as you run with a lead draw.
Well, if there's a finer blocking fullback in the country than Kevin Dudley, and a guy that's caught some passes recently, but Dudley's had a great year.
At that point, it's a 28-13 game, and they moved the ball a little bit, but the defense in the second half, other than the one long run by Herron, you really shut them down.
Yes, we had people in position. As I mentioned earlier, Jim, the big plays, the long touchdown run, with that exception, you'd have to say our defense played very well.
There's a sack by Jeremy Van Alstyne. Boy, it was good to see him make a play, huh?
Well, it's great to have him back. None of us expected that he would be back, and he's playing better each week, each day, in fact.
Here's a fake punt they try and a fumble on 4th down. And this is a huge play because it gives you great field position.
Well, it's an outstanding play there by Lamar Woodley, knocking the ball loose, and even though they recovered, it was our possession. and we come out, David Boss down in front of the screen, Jason Avant blocking, and we're really in control of the football game.
Explain this move by Michael Hart.
You know what? That is a very, I would hate to have to describe that to a radio audience, Jim. How would you describe it?
I called him a whirling dervish.
You know what? That pretty well says it, doesn't it?
Because you can't
no, I don't
say
know.
whatever
because
it is.
The linebacker is unblocked in the hole, and he just spins away from him there. Chad Henne with good protection makes a great throw to Breston, and we get on the board again.
And it's 35-13. And then I don't want to say this was a breakout performance by Breston, because we've seen him do this before. But this is what you talked about earlier. This is a second gear.
Jim, watch him here. We have some good guys, good people in position there. Makes a couple of guys miss, and then when he gets out where it's one-on-one, there aren't many people going to be able to get him down.
No. What a turnaround. 42-13 now in the second half. You win it 42-20, the final. We wanted to show this one play, though, because David Underwood gets his longest run of his career here on a 3rd and 7.
Well, Brian Thompson, a great block on the perimeter, but certainly David has had some difficult times, and it was wonderful for his teammates, his family, and all the people that follow Michigan football to see a wonderful guy make a big run.
And I wanted to get an opportunity to talk about, you had an opportunity in a 42-20 win to put in a lot of those seniors, some of the guys that don't get to play every Saturday. And to me, that's one of the great, wonderful rewards of collegiate athletics, that those kids get a chance to play, because they're really the heart and soul of the ball club.
Well, they do all the demonstration work during the week. They're there in the summertime. They're there in the weight room. And Jim, so often in the last game of their career at Michigan Stadium, they don't get an opportunity because the games are tight and it's hard to substitute. But this was a special day because of that.
And I've always said that those are the guys that ultimately go on down the road and in life become CEOs of companies and become some of your bigger donors to the university, because their experience, even though they didn't play, created such a great attitude in them about their university.
Well, Jim, inevitably there are people that have, you know, a great determination, a great passion, because you don't endure Michigan football without having a commitment and a passion for it, because it is certainly not easy.
Yep, well, they're great, and it was good to see them getting the ball game in Michigan's 42-20 win. When we come back, we'll take a look at that unbelievable whirling dervish. But first, we hear from Steve Breston. Despite his performance, he still says this game was a team win.
The offense came out here. We after the first half, we kind of stumbled a little bit, but I think we came out here and we played hard. And the defense did a great job, you know, getting them off the field, and we was able to make plays on special teams, be able to make plays on offense and on defense. So I mean, it was a good all-around effort in the second half.
It's extremely difficult to come in as a freshman and be a huge contributor at a major program like Michigan. But this year, the Wolverines are enjoying huge contributions from true freshmen like running back Michael Hart. At 5'9" and 190 pounds, he's not huge physically, but he sure runs big. And he had no idea how big his first year was going to be when he arrived in Ann Arbor last August from Syracuse, New York.
I was really just trying to get on the field. You know, I wanted to get on the field and play. I didn't know if I was going to start. You know, I knew Dave was here. You know, we had a lot of upperclassmen playing. They were good. And when I got the opportunity, I just tried to take a hold of it. So it's going pretty well. No, it's going a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
It sure is going better. Even the Michigan veterans are singing the praises of the freshman contributions.
This could be a struggling season, you know, and we could blame it all on freshman guys. Well, you know, we have a freshman quarterback, we have a freshman running back. I mean, what are we supposed to do? But instead, these guys are out here working hard in the film room. They're learning, they're getting better every day. They're taking coaching, they're taking constructive criticism.
There's no question the contribution has been immense. But remember, a freshman's life in college is a big adjustment from high school. It's not as easy as it might look sometimes.
School's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be when I came in here. Because I always got by in high school easy, you know, had a grade point average, and thought I was going to come here and do the same thing, but it's a lot harder. You know, I have to work a lot harder, especially since football takes up so much of your time. You got, you know, every little moment you get, you got to try to study. So I just try to, you know, put everything into study and football.
Clearly, life has changed for Michael Hart since he arrived, but he hasn't changed. A solid family background is keeping him grounded.
I don't feel like I've changed that much so far. You know, always when I've been growing up, you know, I've always kind of been like this. You know, I was always kind of like the oldest in the house, you know, the oldest man in the house and stuff like that. So, you know, I always took care of my little brothers, you know, when my mom was at work and stuff like that, and I always worked and stuff like that. So I've always seemed like, you know, I've always been kind of more mature than my age, and I think that's what's kind of helping me out right now.
He has been remarkable, and you know, you look at Chad as your quarterback, he's a true freshman, and Michael, and you got to say to yourself, boy, these kids, we did a good job recruiting those guys, because not only are they good players, they're good people, and they fit with this club.
Well, Jim Bacher did a great job recruiting both of them, and of course, I think Fred Jackson's done a great job, and Scott Leffler's done a great job as well.
You said another thing after the game on Saturday. You said that the veteran guys like him. They're good guys. That makes a difference.
Jim, anybody just listening to him right there, you can tell he's a solid guy. Chad Henney's the same way. I think our players really have embraced him.
All right, don't forget, everybody, you can go to the Michigan football bus this year and honor Michael Hart and the Wolverine seniors. Call 1-800-847-4764 for tickets at Monday, November 29th at Laurel Manor in Livonia.
Jim Mandich, Hall of Famer.
He will be
MC.
the MC.
Yes,
When we come back, we'll take a look at those Buckeyes. But first, we hear from Lamar Woodley, who says Ohio State will be as tough as they come.
Ohio State, you know, they don't have really too much to lose, but we have a lot to lose because we're trying to get the Big Ten championship and trying to get to a good bowl game. So we're going to come here with a good attitude, and I'm pretty sure they're going to come with attitude too.
It's a huge game. You know, it's a big opportunity, you know, to go down there and have the championship on the line. And, you know, and they're going to try and wreck that. And, you know, we have to do everything in our power to prepare ourselves to get down there and play our best game yet.
It's Michigan-Ohio State. David Boss is right. Lloyd, it's a huge game.
It's always been that way, hasn't it?
Yes, and it's getting huger and huger. and going down there to play a team that, let's face it, doesn't like to give Michigan any credit for anything. And in Columbus, they are a tough customer.
Well, I think it's one of the most exciting venues in college sports or any athletic endeavor. And Ohio State has some big play weapons. Ted Ginn Jr. is one of them.
And Troy Smith, their quarterback, come in to replace Justin Zwick. He's really kind of picked up their offense.
Well, Jim, he's a very mobile quarterback, a very strong arm, a guy that they'll run. They'll use the option. They'll keep him on the move. He's a dangerous threat. Maurice Hall, is one of several backs. Lydell Ross, I'm sure we'll see for sure. And they have a freshman named Pittman who's had an outstanding year.
And they got a kicker who's about as good as they get.
Well, I think the consensus pick would be that Mike Nugent is the best field goal kicker, place kicker in the nation.
But still, isn't the strength of Ohio State has been under Tressel, their defense?
Well, and Simon Fraser, their starting defensive one of the defensive linemen there is a 3-year starter, an outstanding football player, great athlete. A.J. Hawk is a Butkus candidate, outstanding athleticism on this defense.
And at cornerback, Ashton Yabodi is a 6'1", 188-pound sophomore who has a couple of interceptions. But the thing is, you're going down there to Columbus, and even though Ohio State's struggling this year, that doesn't mean a thing. The thing you've got to impress upon your team is you're going to get their best shot. And down there, it's twice as good.
Well, Jim, we've been through it. We've been in the same circumstance and had some success. They've had some, you know, this rivalry really comes down to the fact that both teams know everybody's going to be playing as hard as they can, and that's why these games are always hard fought.
You must, as the visitor or as the home team, match the intensity of the other guy.
Well, you know, the thing we know going in is we're going to be in an environment that is the loudest that we play in, and certainly that always inspires Ohio State. But we have to go in and do a good job of communicating, taking care of the football, playing our best football game.
That's the big deal, taking care of the football and don't give up the big play, which is,
Well,
and their special teams can get you a big play.
They're outstanding special teams. Ginn is a threat to go all the way. He's made a lot of big plays. They're a big play team in a lot of ways. Santonio Holmes, I think, was one of the best freshmen in America a year ago, having an outstanding year as a receiver.
Well, it's going to be a great one. It's Michigan versus Ohio State. Join us next week. You can watch it all here. But don't forget your Go Blue for Mott bracelet. It only costs $2, and $1 of every one of those $2 for the Go Blue for Mott bracelet goes right to a women's and children's hospital. In the meantime, don't forget next week, right here, same time, same place, Michigan versus Ohio State on Michigan Replay.
We'll also talk with the latest of Michigan's very unique number ones. And we'll look ahead to the holidays and Michigan's bowling plans. All that and more coming up next. Michigan Replay with Lloyd Carr is brought to you in part by Abso Pure Water, delivering quality bottled water since 1908. By Chevrolet. Stop by your Detroit area Chevy dealers or log on to DetroitAreaChevyDealers.com. And by State Farm, providing insurance and financial services. Talk with the